All right, let's talk about something that feels like it's getting totally lost in all the noise today. In a world just overflowing with data, we're going to explore a skill that's somehow becoming both rarer and way more valuable: the lost art of practical wisdom. I mean, think about it. We're practically drowning in information. We have algorithms telling us what to buy, what to watch, where to drive. But it really makes you wonder, are we actually getting any wiser? This whole explainer gets right to the heart of that crucial difference, the one between just knowing a bunch of stuff and knowing the right thing to do. So here's our game plan. We're going to start by figuring out what wisdom even is beyond just being book smart. Then we'll dive into Aristotle's brilliant take on it. From there, we'll see how modern psychology tries to measure it, how it shows up in the workplace, and finally, the best part, how you can start cultivating it for yourself. Okay, so first things first, we have to understand that not all wisdom is created equal. For a long, long time, people saw wisdom as this kind of divine gift, or some abstract philosophical ideal. But there's another kind, one that's grounded in action, and it's that kind that is so incredibly important today. And you've got to hand it to the ancient Greeks. They gave us this fantastic way to think about it. On one hand, you've got Sophia. That's your theoretical wisdom. Think of it as book smarts, knowing the universal, unchanging truths, like the laws of math or physics. But on the other hand, you have phronesis. This is what we might call moral street smarts. It's that uncanny ability to figure out the best course of action in a messy, complicated real-world situation. And what's really cool is that modern psychology kind of builds right on top of this. Wisdom, sometimes called sapience, is seen as this mix of two key things: wit, which is all your knowledge and experience, and virtue, which is the moral compass that points all that knowledge toward helping people. Because let's be honest, without virtue, wit is just being clever, right? It's not wisdom. So let's really dig into that second type of wisdom, phronesis, because honestly, it's the star of our show. For a guy like Aristotle, this wasn't just another virtue. It was the master virtue, the one you needed to live a truly good life. Now, what's so fascinating when you look at this slide is where practical wisdom sits. See, it's not scientific knowledge about how the universe works, and it's not the skill of making something, like a craftsman. It's not even that high-level theoretical wisdom about, the meaning of everything. Its whole goal is human action and helping us flourish. Phronesis is totally unique. It's the skill of navigating the messy, unpredictable world of human beings. So, how does a wise person actually think? Well, Aristotle described this process he called the practical syllogism. It's pretty simple, really. It starts with a big universal value. Let's say friends should be supportive. Then comes a specific observation. My friend is really going through a tough time. The conclusion isn't another thought, it's an action. You go help your friend. See? In this view, wisdom always ends in doing something. And get this, phronesis isn't a solo act. It's got a whole team backing it up. You can think of eubulia as the ability to make a really good pro-con list in a tricky situation. Sunesis is basically what we'd call empathy today, that skill of truly getting where someone else is coming from. And then there's gnome. And this one is special. It's that rare ability to know when the strict rules just don't apply, and to find the fair, equitable solution instead. Okay, so let's flash forward a couple thousand years. Psychologists decided to take on this huge challenge. How in the world do you take this ancient philosophical idea and turn it into something you can actually measure? One of the most famous attempts is the Berlin wisdom paradigm. It basically treats wisdom as an expert knowledge system for life. And the criteria here are really telling. It's not just about what you know. It's about understanding the context of a problem, recognizing that different people have different values, and this is the big one, being able to handle uncertainty and still act. But, some researchers felt that model was maybe a little too cerebral, a little too focused on the head. So Monica Ardelt's model suggests that real wisdom is actually three-dimensional. Of course, you need the cognitive part, the thinking, but you also need a reflective part, the ability to look inward and see past your own ego. And you need an affective or emotional part, which is really just compassion for other people. All three have to work together. Which brings us to a huge question. Why is it that hardship makes some people wiser while others just get bitter? Well, the Moore model suggests it comes down to these 5 psychological resources: having a sense of control, being open to new ideas, being able to reflect, keeping your emotions in check, and having empathy. When you bring these tools to life's challenges, that's how you turn experience into wisdom. Okay, so let's shift gears and bring all this into the modern workplace. Because in all sorts of fields, from medicine to management, people are realizing that pure data and rigid rules just aren't cutting it anymore for complex human problems. This is what you could call the rise of the wisdom economy. And this really is the paradox of our time. We have optimized everything for information, for data, but we've kind of forgotten the art of good judgment. Practical wisdom, that phronesis we've been talking about, is the missing ingredient. It's what we need to turn all that data into good, ethical, and effective action. Take a doctor, for example. A truly wise doctor isn't just running down a checklist. They are constantly trying to find what Aristotle called the virtuous mean between two extremes. As you can see here, they avoid being too paternalistic, just telling the patient what to do. But they also avoid the other extreme of just leaving the patient completely on their own. The wise path is right in the middle, shared decision-making. And it's the exact same idea in law. A wise judge knows they are more than just a rule follower. They are a measuring stick for justice. They understand that rules can't possibly cover every single situation. And that's where they have to apply GNOME, that sense of equity we mentioned, to make sure the outcome is actually just, not just technically by the book. So what about in leadership? Well, a frenetic leader, a wise leader, does these 4 key things. They're constantly balancing competing values, like profit and employee well-being. They operate from a clear ethical blueprint. They learn from the past, from history. And most importantly, they get that power is a tool to be used for the good of everyone, not just for themselves. Okay, this all sounds great, but let's get practical. The most important question is, how can we actually become wiser ourselves? Well, the good news is, wisdom isn't some fixed trait you're born with. Not at all. It's a skill. It's something you can develop. And here are 4 really practical steps pulled from both ancient philosophy and modern psychology. First, habit. You literally become wise by practicing wise actions again and again until it becomes second nature. Second, learn from stories. The experiences of others in books, in case studies, in biographies give you a kind of secondhand experience. Third, you have to actively create space in your life to just think, to reflect. And finally, humility. Always, always be aware of what you don't know. When you put it all together, you realize that practical wisdom isn't just one skill among many. It's the master skill. It's like the conductor of an orchestra, arranging all our other talents, our knowledge, and our virtues to create something beautiful, a flourishing life. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Wisdom isn't about having all the answers, not even close. It's about knowing how to act well when you don't have them, when the playbook is empty and the stakes are high. So the only real question left is, how are you going to practice it?